Hello, welcome to this week's journal entry. I have been going through it with my son lately. For the past few weeks, it's just been so exhausting, depleting. He's in a very whiny stage, and I'm learning I don't do well with whining. And it got to the point where in my journal, I just felt like I was repeating the same thing, like, yesterday was a tough day, or Griffin was really whiny today. And in my head, I was like, just stop complaining about it. Like, it just is what it is. Move on. And then it wasn't until the next day after thinking that I realized I should be allowed to feel whatever I want to feel and to have whatever excuse I want to have. Like, I was not doing certain things that I wanted to do. Like, I haven't really been exercising in the morning consistently because my son would get up. And in my head, I told myself, well, that's an excuse. My son, like, I could easily work out with well, not very easily, but I could make it work with my son being up. So in my head, that's an excuse. And I was just getting into this like argument in my head with myself and invalidating how I was feeling or why I was doing or not doing certain things. And it was like it just came to me of like, why aren't we allowed to have excuses? Why can we not? Like, I know that I could work out with my son. I'm choosing not to. And I'm choosing to say that that is the reason and that it is an excuse and that is okay. And sometimes it's not even us we're doing it to ourselves when we act irrationally, quote unquote, or make moments bigger than they are or than they have to be, or try to explain ourselves and our actions, a comeback from other people that they tell us is that's an excuse. I've even been told that on social media, like, oh, just incorporate your kid into your workouts. And I'm like, you don't think that I've considered that? But it's just so common to jump to that conclusion. And it popped in my head, what if they weren't excuses? Or just what if we allowed ourselves to have it? What if we allowed ourselves to feel, to think through alternative options, to be petty? What if we allowed ourselves to be petty, to have the excuses before jumping to, you know, I know it's an excuse, but I'm just exhausted today. I know it's an excuse, but I mean, I don't know if you've ever said that. I say that. Like, I'm aware enough that I know that I could do the thing and that this is my excuse, but who cares? Like, own it. I guess this whole podcast is just to validate the woman who is going through a lot and feels like she has to justify it and rationalize it and act like she's doing all the things. And it's like, girlfriend, you can be all of the things. You can be exhausted and depleted and productive and hopeful and optimistic. And you can do it all without having to justify it. Really, I'm talking to myself here. But I know that there are other women out there that are doing the same thing, that are in the same cycle with themselves, and they don't know how to break out of it. And when we don't know how to break out of it, when we try to push our true thoughts and feelings and emotions down, we risk two things. One, not understanding how we actually feel. And ultimately, this defaults to like I'm good. We just go about our lives like everything's good, just kind of surface level. And the second thing that we risk is jumping to a conclusion that doesn't feel aligned or authentic to ourselves because we're not in tune with ourselves. We haven't allowed ourselves to move through these bigger emotions or to explore the thoughts, no matter how petty they might be. Just say them, just get them out there. And without doing that, we like almost turn a blind eye to that and just say, yes, let's do that instead. We choose the path that we're going to take without seeing all sides of how we feel. I found that there are two things that help me when I realize I'm in this cycle. And they help me with honoring how I'm feeling and like normalizing it and then moving through it. The first thing, and I'm just going to talk briefly about this one, which is human design. And then the second thing is I have 5 journal prompts for you. So if you know your human design, you can actually use this to help you in moments of emotional turmoil, if you will. So when you're questioning yourself, or doubting or just going through an emotional time, knowing different parts of your human design. So let's say your type can give you some perspective. For example, I am a projector. That means that I am like the bird's eye view and I often offer guidance. I'm not the like manifesting generator where I'm seeing all the things and doing all the things and building all of the things. I can see everyone doing all that and then offer advice and like help lay the puzzle pieces and like offer ways to do it better or quicker or more efficiently or whatever. That's what a projector is. And oftentimes I get in my head about how much I love rest and alone time. And I judge myself and think that I should be going out. I should be doing all these things when in reality, what I want to do is have my alone time. Even back to the working out example, I feel like I should be working out when in reality, I just want like a brief moment of rest. And one thing that comes with being a projector, as well as the profile that I have, is rest and recharge. And like we have this battery and we inside of us, we like get to use it and we do get passionate about certain things, but we need that downtime to recharge. So knowing that that is part of my design, part of how I was am designed, almost feels like permission that I don't have to do all of the things. It makes me feel like my thoughts are valid and like it's okay to skip the workout. It's okay to not go to that networking event that I've been wanting to go to forever and still haven't even booked. It's okay to push that off until next week. So, knowing different parts of your design and using it to understand yourself in these actual day to day thoughts and feelings, your human design is so interesting, but I think that the number one mistake that a lot of people make is they learn it and they're like, cool. And then they move on. Where in reality, you can use your human design to give you direction in life and to help you rationalize why you do the things you do, why you think the way that you do, why you behave and like play and all the things and make it feel good. Do it in a way that makes you feel aligned and authentic to yourself and true to yourself. So that's the first thing. Next is journaling. So just journaling, you can journal through your human design, but also journaling through the specific moments that you're going through. I think a lot of people can feel something inside of them. They feel this resistance or tension, yet they don't know what to do with it. They don't have an outlet for it. So if you want to journal through it and get it out, here are 5 prompts that you can journal through. And that's my journal prompt flow. It's not 5 individual prompts. We start with one, and then there's smaller prompts that guide you through your entry. All of them will be in the show notes. The first one is just what's happening. Just jot down emotional brain dump. What's going on? What's the situation? Bring awareness to it. Second, how does it feel? Third, if you allowed yourself to be petty, to have excuses, or just say what you want to say, no matter how valid or crazy or whatever it might seem, what would it be? What are those thoughts? Get them out there. Then, now that the air is clear, you said what you wanted to say, no matter what your thoughts are about them, with no judgments on your thoughts or yourself. Take a deep breath and think through what it is that you actually want to have happen out of this particular situation. And lastly, what will help you get there? This journal prompt flow is what gets me from being in the moment, feeling exhausted and depleted, or in an argument or whatever, to feeling the feels. Oh, I used to hear people say, like, allow the emotions to move through you. Like, once they move through you, then they're out of you. And I was like, what? How? Like, no, either put up a wall and don't let them come in, or like, if you let them in, where are they going? I had no idea. Like they're just inside of me now, and now can't get them out. But this is how I get them out. I find that you get them through you, the more honest and truthful and vulnerable you are with yourself. So that's what that third prompt is. And that fourth prompt is where we turn the corner and we allowed ourselves to be however we wanted to be, however we wanted to show up. And we're then challenging what is it that we want to have happen? What is our ideal situation? And from there, it will be much more clear on steps that you can take or things that you can do to help you achieve that. It might be do the stinking workout, Sam, or it might be, you know what, that's actually not that important. It will not change anything about your day. Take the rest. Instead, when you plug into work, do this thing first. So jot down what will help you get there. After listening to this, not only do I hope you feel like your opinions and thoughts are valid. I think that you might know that, but I hope that you explore them. I hope that you allow yourself to actually feel them. And there's no safer place to feel them than in your journal. I am so petty and silly and judgmental in my journal because then I let it go and move through that. Whereas if I didn't do that, I know that I would be bringing those feelings underlying, because of course they'd be under the rug. I would be bringing that into my conversations with people. I would be bringing all that pent up energy and emotion into the work that I'm doing, unrelated, but it's still there. So I hope that you truly not only validate yourself, but explore it and allow yourself to feel it and write it down so that you can release it. Write it to release it. I like that. I might coin that. That might be my new thing, but write it to release it. You are going to feel so good and also feel like you have direction at the end of that journal prompt flow. If you need a little bit more direction, consider hopping into Design and Decide. It's my 4-week journaling group that starts on June 3rd, and we are going to be going over human design and applying it to our lives by journaling through our human design and how it relates to our past experiences, our current alignment with our design, and future decisions, situations, relationships, things that we've got going on in our lives. We're going to be doing all of that with weekly workshops virtually, as well as journal prompts every single day. There's going to be a bonus prompt section just in case there's a day where you don't really resonate with the prompt or you want to go gung-ho and journal on the weekends. There's going to be extra prompts for you, additional resources for human design, and a space for you to share what's happening in your world. What are you actually going through so that I can provide journal prompts for you? But there's also a community of women that I'm positive will be relating to you and can help you through that and share their perspective and stories. The community in there is my favorite part, potentially. It is just so uplifting and supportive. So consider joining us in there. Eventually, Design and Decide will be a standalone program for $9.97. But right now, the only way to gain access to it is inside the Emotionally Empowered membership, which is only $197 a month. So $800 off, which is insane. So feel free to check out the link in the show notes as well for that. Until then, I will see you next week.